Welcome to live stream number 179. It is Wednesday. It is raining in Western New York, and if you're watching the recording, time should be going. I don't blame you if you fast forward a little bit. I'm just gonna change the light a little bit here. Just a little bit early. Just want to make sure that you get a chance to come in here if you want to join today's live stream. We're gonna do best questions and answers today, what means that I'm answering some of your questions. I can see we got Blaze here. Absolutely appreciate it. Super awesome that you could make it. I'm not even gonna try the whole. We should be going on Facebook, but I'm not even gonna try to see if I can narrow it down. I'm there if I'm there. I can't. It's too much. Awesome. A minute and a half. I can see people dropping in, at least on the YouTube. Absolutely awesome. Just want to take these few minutes just to thank you for taking the time to join and watch these live streams. And of course, also if you're watching the recording, absolutely appreciate it. Yes. So today is the best questions and answers, what means that I will answer some of your emails. All right. Let me see here. Who do we got here? We got a bunch of people. Looks like we are live on the on the Facebook. Hi Facebook, good to see you. And it looks like I did get the right description in there today. All right, what do we got? We got a minute left. So today we're gonna hear from David. We're gonna answer David's questions, Neil's, and Andy's. That's gonna be something for everybody here. I hope that's the plan. I'll show you a couple of tips and tricks. Hopefully this adds a little bit more value to your Fusion 360 experience. Don't forget, down in the description area, you will find a couple of things. You will find, one, the registration for the Toronto event that is coming up July 19th. So if you are in the Toronto area and you want to come and hang out with me for 3 hours, talk some Fusion, then definitely register for that. And if we get enough people in Toronto, if it is a success, then maybe we take it on the road. You will also find my email address down in the description area. You are more than welcome to send me an email. Any future topics you would like to see, love to hear about it. I am falling behind on answering emails personally. That's why we're doing this today. And you will also find a link to the free CNC Handbook. Don't forget to check that out. It's completely free. No strings attached. So we are counted down. I can see we already got a bunch of people in here. It's absolutely awesome. Let me get rid of this clock. There we go. And we should be good to go here. How are you doing? My name is Lars Christensen, and welcome to live stream number 179. It's a rainy Wednesday here in upstate New York. Today, we're going to get in and do a best questions and answers. This is where, hopefully, I'm bringing some value to you in your Fusion 360 endeavor. Trying to answer a couple of emails that I've gotten, because I'm falling behind on that. It's just hard for me to keep up. I would rather create content like this. But today, I'm going to answer 3 people, David's, Neil's, and Andy's questions. So, enough of that. Let's get into Fusion 360. So the first question is David, who even was kind enough to send me a drawing trying to model up a train wheel. And specifically, David was looking for if you have round spokes. But let's just, we have people in all different kinds of levels here. So let's just go in here, open up a sketch. And I'm going to start on the front plane here. Now, it's probably easy if you're doing a wheel of some type to think, let's start with a circle and draw a circle, and then we can hit Q and add some kind of a thickness, and there's our wheel. That's one way to do it. Nothing specifically wrong with that. But if you watch my live stream about how to model anything round, you know that I'm a big fan of using the revolve feature for something like that. So, train wheel, open up a sketch. This time, instead of doing the front plane, I'm actually going to select the right plane, but that doesn't really matter. L for line, and this is probably going to be a model, a model train wheel. Sorry, Andy, or David, sorry. So I'm going to start out creating a line vertical here, up in some kind of a height, and then I'm going to draw something, I don't know, close that off there. So this line here is kind of like just for my reference, and D for dimension, and let's make this 30, oops, that was supposed to be 35. 35. Let's round this to 40. I'm just rounding here. This is just me making stuff up on the spots. 10, and then we probably need some kind of like an overall radius on this. 215 maybe. So now it's fully defined. And now if we go in and we use this revolve, we can select this area. We can use an axis and we can revolve it around that blue center axis there, and we kind of got the outer of our train wheel, right? So that's kind of like it's going to sit on the track there. Now from this point on, just to continue to get to the round spokes, I'm going to create a new sketch, and this time I might actually select this front plane here. Let's do a circle. Let's make this 80. Let's also draw the circle for the center hole while we're in here. Make this 30, something like that. Q for press pull. And if you can't remember how thick we did this one, you can always just click on it and this extrusion will go to that thickness. If you just click here, that will be that thickness. Check this out. If I drag it out here and I drag on this face, left click, it'll be that thickness. Okay, maybe you knew that. So now we have kind of two bodies. Now we're gonna two bodies over here in the folder. Let's connect those two with a spoke. And yes, to David's question, I want it round. Well, anything round, I like to use the revolve like we just used for the outside. So I'm gonna open a new sketch, draw on the plane here, and I'm just gonna draw a line to revolve around. So I'm gonna click here, draw a horizontal line, snap into there. Now I could go ahead here and make this point and the center point horizontal. That will make that fully defined. And then we need to create kind of like the outer shape. And just to make this fancy, I am going to select a spline. And the spline here, I'm going to make sure it snaps into this here, maybe up here, and down to here. Hit OK. And splines, we get these handles. We talked about splines before. We get these spline handles. So now we can start making this kind of like in, let's make it fancy. Let's make it like a old wheel thing here. Splines, you can absolutely fully define them with dimensions and constraints. You're gonna have to do that on each single handle this here, but I like to just take the shortcut. I'm gonna right click on it and select fix. Then it turns green and I know that you can't move it now. Kind of like a shortcut. With this, let's go back into revolve, select this here to revolve around, and then select the axis here. Now it's going to become a cut because it sees that we're cutting into material. So I'm going to switch it to join, and there is our wheel. Oh, wait a minute. See how it's not sitting in the center of the wheel? Uh-oh. Now, question, did I do that on purpose or not? That is for you to wonder. This sketch, I sketched that on the back plane that was sitting back here, right? I actually wanted the center of the wheel. Well, maybe I did that on purpose to show you something, or maybe not. For you to figure out. I'm just kidding. So what I'm going to do, remember, everything down here works in history. So I'm going to drag this one back, the history marker back to before the sketch. Here's a little trick. Go up to construction, select a mid-plane. Going to select these two faces here. Now I got a plane cutting right through those two faces. That's actually where I want that sketch. If I move this marker back up to the sketch, it's sitting on the wrong side. You can right click on a sketch and say redefine sketch plane. Now if I select here, it just moved the sketch up on that plane. Huh. If this moved a little bit too fast, just rewind and watch the one more time. So now I'm gonna go back up and do the revolve. Select that intersection. My axis is around here. Now it goes to a cut because it sees we're cutting into material. I'm gonna switch that to join. Hit OK. And there, David, is your round spoke. Now, let's just work with this a little bit more, just because we're at it. I'm gonna pattern this, circular pattern, so under create, pattern, circular pattern. I like to select features if I can get away with it. Just select that revolve there. The axes, well, that's gonna be that axis there. By default, we get 3. Maybe we want 18. I think that's, oh, they're kind of cutting into each other. You can see that in that area. I made them a little thick. Let's make 14. Nope. 12. Ugh. Well, you can always hit OK. A little bit too fat, but I want enough spokes in here. Let's go back to what sketch was it we did that in? With that sketch right there. Right click, hit edit sketch. We gotta unfix. So right click on the same spline again and say fix unfix. Now you will see that it's back to blue. And let's drag this down a little bit. Let's make it a little thinner. Creative freedom. How do you like that? Okay, right click, fix it again. Hit stop sketch. Yeah. That's a little bit better. Now I can maybe actually, can I increase it? 16. Yeah, let's make it 16. Okay, I'm not sure this is a fancy train wheel, but this is what you get. Because one last thing I wanted to show you is, just because I don't want to let David hanging here, is that a train wheel, of course, has like an offset in here where, I don't know how you call that, but it's kind of like controlling the speed or the feed to the wheel. You don't have a chain. So you'll know what I'm talking about in a second. So you can actually remember everything happens in the timeline down here in order. So let me go ahead here and create a new sketch on this face. Hope this makes sense for you, David. I'm going to hit C for circle, and I'm going to draw a circle here. I'm going to draw a circle, something like that. And I'm actually going to draw another circle within that, make that 20. This one here, let's make this one 50, maybe. And we're going to make it vertical. So this point is vertical to the origin. And then we're going to drag that up. Whoops. Drag that up so it intersects up here. It's a little hard to see right now. Let's give it a dimension. D to here. Let's make it 60. Align. And here I'm going to make sure that the line is tangent with this arc here. So I'm actually going to create a line from this edge to here. And then you can use the tangency. I've talked about that before, to make sure that these lines here are tangent. I'm going to create another line on the other side here to this edge. Same thing, tangency. Click on the line first, then the circle. Click on the line first, then the circle. Okay, now we have this here, and let's hit Q and select this area, and this area. And if we drag in here, now it's going to be a cut again, because it sees we're moving material. But if we do join, then we can just drag that over and click on that face. That's going to become that thickness. Hit OK. Now here's a little trick. I don't know if Fusion can do this or not. Select this face in here and hold down Control and select this face. Hit delete on your keyboard. And it's smart enough to know that it had to delete those faces. You could also have just started a new sketch, projected this edge, and then done a cut. But in this case here, you can actually delete it out. So there you have it, David. That is your train wheel with your round spokes. What do you call this when this is offset? That's kind of like what's spinning that around. I'm going to save this one just in case that David want to get them all. You send me an email, David, and I will share this with you. Anybody else who wants it. Okay, that was David there. Hope that was useful, David. Let's jump in, and Neil had a good question. Also, when we're talking, this actually fits very good into the third answer, and that is talking about like angular things. So Neil's question was, all right, I have a flat plate, so let's create that. New sketch. I hit the S key. Oh, I hit the S key because I have my center rectangle. Draw a rectangle, 50 by 100. Doesn't really matter. Let's give it some thickness. Q, press pull. Okay, so we have a plate right here. And I don't have my perspective with auto faces turned on. That drives me nuts. Right click, perspective with auto faces. That's my normal setting. So what Neil would like is he would like a rod that comes out of an angle out of this plate. And here's a neat trick to that. If you didn't know what I mean about an angular rod, just patient friends. I'm going to open a new sketch here and draw a sketch on this top face. And I'm going to create a line. Now this is a helping line. So it doesn't really going to do anything particular. I'm going to hit D for dimension and give it a distance. I will say that Neil did send me a drawing of this, but I was not going to show that drawing because just like me, I think Neil and I, we need CAD and not try to draw by hand. Neil will agree with me, I think. I don't think he would be offended by that. So I created a sketch just to create a line here. Now if we go in and we select plane and an angle, we can select this line, and that will actually give us a plane in an angle. So now we can go in here and give it some kind of degree here. Minus 30 is fine. And now we have that plane sitting. So the line was just to create a place for that to revolve around. It's just looking for an angle, and I found that under plane and an angle. Now we can open a sketch on this face, and we're actually looking at it in an angle. Use the view cube for your orientation. C for circle. And let's draw out a diameter here of 25, right? And if I now hit Q, press pull, you see that circle sitting right there at an angle? We can select this and we can draw. Again, it's going to be a cut, but if we select join, you will see that comes out right here. You will actually see my diameter. It actually goes a little bit beneath here. A couple of ways we could deal with that in this case. I'll show you. We can actually use the same trick we just used before. But now we have a rod coming out in an angle. This would actually also be how you many times will do a hole in an angle. You could do that the same way. Now again, we're only getting a half a hole. I'll stop moving my mouse around. Go two sides. So now we actually have a hole in an angle. That's how we would drill a hole in an angle. Edit that again. But it was supposed to be a join. So we can go this way, and then the other one we can just, because there's a gap here, we can go, instead of doing distance for the second side, we can do to object. Whoops. That was the wrong one. To object and select this face here. No. Dang. Which one am I controlling here? Two sides. Okay, this is the top. So this to object. And we want it to this face. And oh, it might not want to go to that face. Oh, it will go to that face. Why is it doing that? Oh, I'm not selecting this top face. You see that? It's like I can select. Oh, that's interesting. There's something it doesn't. You know what? That might have been because I went into a cut. Let me just try for a second. Deselect this. It might have been because I went into a cut first, and now the software is a little confused. Q. We're going to press pull that sketch there. What we always like when Lars is struggling here. Let's do this to a join. Okay, so that's our angle this way. Now we're going to go the other way. So I'm going to go 2 sides. And the second side I'm going to say 2 object. And I still don't want to select. It won't let me select that top face. That is very interesting. It can't select that top face. Well, that might be a bug. Well, I'm going to find another way. I'm going to show you what I want to show you anyways. So, we're going to go this way. We're going to go other direction, 2 sides. We're going to drag this one down past here. I'm going to find a way to do it one way or the other. And then I can show you the trick I was going to show you anyways. What is, we can select, just like we did before, we can select this face. We can hold down control, we can select this face, we can hit delete. And that's one way we can solve that. Ha! Show you that. Another thing Neil brought up here was he also wanted a slot inside of this one. So don't forget, you can start sketching on this face up here that is in an angle, right? So we can go in here and click on this. I'm going to draw a helping line from the center over to this edge here. And I'm going to make that horizontal. And then to make the slot, I'm just going to hit the S key and use that center rectangle as we did before. And again, we should probably always dimension everything we touch inside of Fusion. That is a good rule. Make this 7. Press pull. We can now select this, and that could be the slot that you were looking to be cut into that one there, Neil. I just want to show one more trick as we're here, because Neil's actually had one on the other side. We have 2 options on how we can get that over there, and I'm not quite sure what Neil was looking for. One would be to use the revolve as we used before. So take a circular revolve, and again we could select features or faces. That would be whatever we want. So in this case, I'll select this. I'll probably also select the removed and this one. And then the axis could be the center axis here. And we only need 2, right? So if I hit OK now, we got one here and we got one over there. But that got rotated. So that depends on what size you want the slot on. The other thing, of course, we could do, let's scroll back down there, was to do a mirror and select features, select the same 3 once, and instead of instead of revolving around an axis, we're now revolving around a mirror, and now we have the slot on each side. So that depends on what you want, Neil, but hopefully this gave you a good tip on how to do that. Hope that was was kind of useful for Neil there. The last one is, hope this is useful. See here, we got 79 people on YouTube. Absolutely appreciate it. Thank you. And we also got a handful on Facebook. You guys are the best. Last one is Andy, and that is Cam. Now, just check this out. We're gonna. Oh, should I save this file also? It would be nice if you want this file, Neil. Angulus rod, I think I called in description. The last one is for Andy. Andy has a fun little thing here. Again, we're gonna go and start from start here, and I'm gonna draw on the top face here. And I'm gonna do something a little different. I'm gonna go in here and talk about a problem that some of you guys have seen. I'm gonna go in and use a slot and an oval slot. I'm gonna select center mark here, and I'm gonna give it a length of 100, and then on purpose I'm actually gonna add an angular on it here, so it's not straight. Okay, and then I can give it kind of like its width, so we're gonna make it 30. Okay, so where we have this one here, now you will see that we can, I didn't lock down the angle, that was my mistake. Alpha line, I'm just gonna draw a line again, I'm drawing these helping lines. So D for dimension. Oops. Lars, pay attention. This line and this line. I wanted that 160. Okay, and what else do we need here? We can see that this is still blue. And I never got that length secured either. Rookie mistake. Let's do a tangent arc. Just because we can. 125. It is now fully defined, the sketch. Now, I'm going to do a couple of things to this one. So I'm going to hit C for... Check this out. C for circle. Select here. And let's make a 18 millimeter diameter. Right there. C for circle. 18 diameter. Well, actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just make that diameter. Then I'm going to use the equal relationship between these two. So now, whenever I change this one, the other one updates. Okay. Just to make this a little bit more interesting, I'm going to go up and select a 3-point arc, and I'm going to make sure I snap into this here, and snap into this. So endpoints, I'm just going to give this some kind of a arc there. Let's do a D for dimension. And if you wondered how I got the tangency, right click, pick tangency. You can select tangency here to this line here. Let's make that 8. And I showed you before how we could mirror across, we mirrored across for Andy's example. You can, of course, also mirror sketches. So we can take this one and we can mirror it over this center line here. There we go. So I'm going to extrude this one up here. And let's give it a good thickness, 25 millimeters, just like that. Now we have this thing sitting in a little bit of an odd angle. So Andy's question is, when I go in to put this into CAM, and I create my setup, you always have to create a setup. Notice how the part is sitting in a crooked compared to the box. And that's because the box is using this kind of origin right here. Well, we can go in and select a Z-axis. And I select this top face. Now the Z-axis is pointing the right way. But my X-axis is still, it's not aligned along the part. I want it aligned along the part. Well, Andy, if you do have a straight edge on your part, you could actually, with the X-axis, and I'm using select Z and X-axis, you could highlight the X-axis, you could select a straight edge on your part, and it will move along. In this case, the way I model this up, I don't have a straight edge. Haha, here's the trick. Go in, you can actually turn on your sketch you originally used. See, there's the sketch we originally used to extrude this part, and in there I can select that edge. And as soon as I select that edge, notice how my X-axis is now going along with that. You can of course flip the direction here, and notice how my stock jumped to that. So let me just do that one more time. So when you do the setup, originally, it's using kind of like the origin on the model origin, and I model this one up at an angle. So I'm going to select those to select Z-axis. First thing we always select is our Z or Z. So we get there. And then to get the X-axis to go along, I'm actually going to go down here and hunt down to the sketch. Find it along there. Flip it, and now your X-axis is along the part. This is one of the reasons that if you ever hear me talking about CAM, I don't really care how the model is modeled up, because in CAM, we're going to set our own origin, and that's going to follow whatever we are setting. So right now, even though that you're looking at this part right now and you're saying, geez, this is kind of like a little confusing that the part is in an angle. When you go out to the machine, the way we have set this up, it would actually react just like as if it was looking normal on it. So, kind of a cute little cute little trick, I think. Hopefully you found that helpful. That was for Andy for your cam stock. Friends, that was all that I had planned on showing this rainful Wednesday in upstate New York. I don't know how the light is kind of playing a little bit here without any sunlight. Don't forget, down in the description area, if you are in the Toronto area, I would love to see you July 19th. I'll treat you to some pizza and maybe a drink afterwards. I will not be live streaming that event because I'm not quite sure about the Wi-Fi connection up there. I will try to film some of it though. Also, I gotta make a shout out to Tim. I might actually do this tomorrow too, just in case some people have already jumped off. Tim, thank you so much for sending me a couple of really cool 3D printed keychains. I'm gonna make sure one gets to Tanner. I'm gonna try to get a hold of Tanner so you can get this one or one of those. This other one here is inspired by the sign you see back there. And I'm actually wrapping up the video on how I made that sign. So that will be up probably this weekend, I would think. Also, my email address is down in the description area. The free CNC Handbook is down in the description area. Friends, as always, I truly appreciate you guys taking the time to watch these live streams, trying to add a little bit more value to your day. Thumbs up if you like this. If you don't, be honest, thumbs down. I want that. I want the feedback in the comments area too. Like, if there's anything you think is stupid, let me know. Appreciate it, guys. Until tomorrow, I hope you have an awesome Wednesday. Take care.